Well, hey guys, it's Dr. Drake here again today. And as you can see, we've got a box, a blue box, which could be a Colt, or could be, in this case, obviously, with this emblem, a Smith & Wesson. Now, the box looks a little bit old, and there's a reason for that. It has an older firearm in it. This is a model 686-5. And for those of you that get annoyed by such things, no, this one is a pre-lock. So the 686-5 is $357. This is a 7-shot, so this is the plus model. I am not typically one who's interested in a 7-shot cylinder, but I came across this today at my local gun shop, and I've been looking for a 686 in either a 4 or a 6-inch barrel. And here we go. Now this has some Magna stocks on it. These are, I believe, Altamonts. The gun actually came with these grips, I guess for lack of a better word, which are Smith & Wesson logo that were made by Hogue. And I'm not a super big fan of these. But that's what it came with. The guy said, hey, it'll also take these, and after some wheeling and dealing, I got him to throw these in. These are nice, very nice stocks. They may be a little bit too slim for me, though. I like the look, though, without question. I have some very newish Smith & Wesson. These came on a Model 66 that I put some others on. This is an L frame round butt. And what we're going to see when we take this apart a little bit, we're going to see that this firearm does indeed kind of break down what a lot of people talk about in terms of misnomers about stainless. That stainless can't rust. We're going to see that's not necessarily true. So we're going to take a look at this. This is actually an extra stainless steel screw that I need to cut down to size. The guy that sold me this gun, much like myself, is kind of picky. If you have a stainless firearm, you should have a stainless screw in it. And this one that someone put in there, who knows what they were doing. The case of the boogered up screwdriver on a revolver, fortunately, they didn't do anywhere else. You see right here, a little spot. We don't know if that's rust or just some gook, but we're going to get this whole thing cleaned up. But if you take a look here, you're going to see some spots where there's some rust, which there's guys that believe stainless doesn't rust. And those of us that have worked with stainless, whether it be with firearms or what the case, we know better. But this is a finish that doesn't look bad now, but we're going to make this look shiny, shiny like nickel. So stay tuned. I mentioned Altamont. They're going to be featured prominently in a video that I'm going to be coming out with probably within the week. But as you see here on the frame of this Smith & Wesson 686, you can see what's not supposed to be there, right? Because stainless doesn't rust, right, guys? No. It's just resistant to it. And when you let moisture get between something like a rubber grip, which won't absorb anything, and your steel, you'll get this. Now, I was kind of concerned about, okay, how far does this go? So I actually asked the guy at the local gun shop, who's a very nice guy, I bought a number of firearms from over the years, can you pop off the side plate? I want to see what's inside. So we're going to do that here. I want to go ahead and just show you a couple things. This is a perfect size screwdriver for these screws. And just a couple things. We're going to take off this side plate so I can show you what's inside. This is the screw you take out in order to take your cylinder off of the firearm. So whatever you do, guys, make sure that you have the right size screwdriver. I can't tell you how sad it is to see a perfectly good firearm like a Smith, a Colt, whatever, get boogered up because somebody's using a screwdriver. It's typically too small, and if the blade's too small, then it tends to, when you turn it on the screw, it tends to cause a problem and booger it up. Or if it's too wide, it'll scratch the actual frame itself. So we've removed this screw, and the next thing you do is you open up your cylinder, and you'll see that, give you a better look right here, this slides right off, okay? So you grab it right here by the crane and it slides right off, okay? So now you have, for future reference, this is where you can actually take your cylinder off. This one needs to be lubricated, very dry. That'll be easy to do, but that's what you do, and it'll give me an opportunity as well to easier to clean it this way. Also give me an opportunity to lube up. So here's your firearm, okay? So moving right along, I've got 2 more screws to take off. Again, I've got the perfect size screwdriver for this job. You can get special gunsmithing screws as well. Did I say gunsmithing screws? You can get gunsmithing screwdrivers that have a special head. Okay, so now here you go. I've got this 3 screws holding this on. Okay. Now here's what you want to do to get this plate loose. I had talked about in a prior video actually prying this up, and was told that was a big no-no by one of my viewers who knows more about this than I do. What you really want to do is grab a hold of it and smack it a little bit, just like that. And it works it loose, and it comes right off, okay? That's all there is to it. Then you want to grab this piece right here. This is your drop safety. It fits right over here and rides up and down. So what I was concerned about is if there's rust here, are we going to have rust on any of these internals? And we don't, but they are dry. If you take a look at these pieces, they almost look like they've never been lubricated. So we are going to lubricate them while we have this side plate off. And it does not appear that I have any work to do from a rust perspective. But there's your internal workings once again. Now I will point out that the hammer and the trigger are MIM parts. They're metal injected molding is what MIM stands for. And a lot of guys don't like them because, you know, they're MIM, they're cheaper to make than the forged. So that must mean they're not very good. I've had a lot of things, including many firearms with MIM parts, and never had a MIM part failure, just so you know. But for some guys, it's a deal. And if it's a deal, then you don't want the -5. You want to go back to a -4 or a -3, something like that. The -5, by the way, is the last version that was made without the lock hole. So there you go. If anything, this is dry. This needs lubricated, which we're going to do. It needs lubricated, and then just a little bit of polishing to get that rust. That's just surface rust. That's not an ugly pitted situation. But there you go. We've seen this view before. And you don't need to see me cleaning it. Now, as I mentioned, I'm a big fan of the Flitz polish, but to use super sparingly on older blued firearms, not at all on newer blued firearms, especially from Smith & Wesson. But for stainless, this stuff is great because you really can get down to the nitty-gritty. And for those of you that asked this question, yes, I do take the cylinder release latch off so that I can get a nice surface. But I cover this stuff with Flitz, being careful not to get it down into the trigger works and stuff. And then next what I'll do, as you can already see, just by applying it, those rust spots are going away. But now I'm going to buff it really good. And we're going to end up with a real shiny firearm, I believe. So stay tuned. Okay, well, get your sunglasses on, guys. Here's the polished version using the flits, and probably even going to put a little bit of Renaissance on this for protective purposes, but you're going to see right now, if you remember those rust spots, no problem buffing those out. No problem at all. The one on the trigger guard on the front of the frame, completely gone. Everything is nice and shiny. Flipping it over. And you can see that she cleans up real nice. So I've got her nice and lubed. And there you go. Okay, here's version 1. And this is using the grips that actually came with my Model 66 when I got that. And these weren't made by Hogue, these were made by somebody else. But I like them because they're minimalist. But you can kind of see, not a giant fan of finger grooves, but nice and lubed up. And does a very good job. I got to remember now, there's 7 rounds, which I'm not used to. Not used to being the 6-round guy. But that's what she looks like with these particular grips on it, which I think are very practical. And here are those Altamount Magna stocks, which, you know, certainly that is an awfully nice look. For a 4-inch 357, I don't know, you know, I don't know if I like them or not, but they certainly aesthetically, they look good. Just different. Just different. We could play musical grips with these, but this does look pretty. Cannot deny that. Does look pretty. Okay, and here's the last version we're going to look at, which is these very, very nice Altamount basket weaves. And they're called the Altais. A-L-T-A-I. I like them. Overall, just the fit in hand and everything for this size, this 4-inch, very nice. And very, very nice fit. Oh, got to remember 7. There we go. But yeah, these are really nice. I imagine I'm going to be getting a different set of these. These belong to my Model 66 here. So that will be the plan. Because these are some very nice grips, and I actually like them a little bit better on this than I do that. Taking a look down this barrel, we see that it's nice and smooth where it needs to be. The rifling's in good shape. There's no rust spots or pits or anything like that, which we're happy about. And then checking the cylinder gap between the cylinder and the forcing cone. The size that is the correct fit on this one is 5/1000ths of an inch, which is well within spec for a Smith & Wesson revolver, and there is no end play at all. The last question I had was, would it be compatible with my other holsters for other K&L frames and for 4-inch? And the answer is yes. It's got the slightly bigger cylinder to accommodate that 7th round, so I was kind of curious because I knew it was kind of a tight fit. But the answer is yes, it does. It requires a little bit more working, I think, to break in the holster. This holster hasn't been used much, but the answer is yes, it will fit in all K&L frame 4-inch holsters that I have. I've got several. So glad to see that, and geez, I don't know if this guy's going to get his basket weaves back or not, the way things are looking, but not a bad looking setup at all. Not a bad looking setup. From the front, that very common profile with the full underlug, which gives it a little bit more stability. This is a K frame. So the L frame being a heavier frame, basically the Model 66, the Model 19, which you've been seeing a lot of lately, not quite as sturdy, and there were complaints, especially with heavier 357 Magnum loads, of cracking and things like that on the forcing cone. So the decision was made, let's go ahead and make a sturdier frame. So that then was born the L frame, and that's your 586, your 686, which are known to handle any kind of 357 round you can throw at them. But anyway, as you can see, same size, same everything. Cleans up really nice. And as far as just comparing double action pull trigger to what we see nowadays, pretty much same thing. This one's a little bit slicker because I imagine it's been shot more than this guy. That looking at the two, a nice polished up stainless job on these Smith & Wessons are just outstanding in my opinion. They shine up just about like mirrors. Love the way they look. Love the way they look, without a doubt. Now, invariably, somebody is going to ask me at some point, hey, how does that new 686 shoot against the 586? So that might be something we have to check out in pretty short order here. The other question is, how does it shoot against the Colt Trooper in 4 inches? Just keep in mind that you've got a universe of firearms out there, but you've also got a universe of information. If you want good quality firearms that are pre-owned, you should be prepared to pay for them. And if you want to do a little bit of work on them, if you want to clean them up and make them nice and shiny and reflecting, you can certainly do that. It just takes a little bit of elbow grease and a little bit of know-how. So hopefully some of the stuff I've learned that I've shown you today can be helpful, and we can all enjoy our firearms. None of us get ripped off. Everybody gets a fair trade and a good value. At least that's how I like to do business. I don't like to feel like I pulled one over on a guy. I do like to feel like I got good value for myself. So anyway, upcoming videos, obviously we're going to shoot this guy. This is the Smith & Wesson Model 686-5, born on date 1990, 4-inch barrel. Wow, with these Altamount basket weaves, a beautiful firearm. So thank you for watching today. More Smiths, more 357. This is Dr. Drake 63 saying so long. Thanks for watching, guys.